Hello, and welcome to the Banker's View from Sibos series. I'm Joy Macknight, Transaction Banking Editor at The Banker, and I'm here with Naveed Sultan, Global Head of Treasury and Trade Solutions at Citi Global Transaction Services, to discuss the potential hot topics at SWIFT's user conference in Geneva. Hi Naveed, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Before we get on to the hot topics at Sibos, can you sort of explain some of the changes that has happened within transaction banking over the past year?
Joy, the transaction banking continues to gain in its strategic relevance to our clients. At Citi, we believe that we are the literal extension of our clients' operating and business models. And in that, our solutions or our engagement with our clients is primarily assisting them to navigate this complex and ever-evolving environment. Our clients are primarily focused on three interrelated themes, which is returns, risk, and regulation. And our engagement with our clients to assist them to achieve their goals in relation to those three specific areas of focus.
Okay. But obviously the transaction banking industry as a whole has faced a lot of challenges over the past year. Pressure on margins, the regulation that you mentioned. But what are the opportunities that you see?
I think despite all the economic challenges and the others you mentioned, there is still a sizable opportunity out there to make sure that the industry continues to stay relevant to its clients and its constituencies. We see a continuation of very sizable flows, be it geography driven or be it business model driven. From a geographic standpoint, there is very sizable corridors of flows. For example, emerging markets to emerging markets, which is becoming increasingly a major part of the global trade and commercial flows, as well as, of course, developed to emerging markets. And we believe at Citi we are exceedingly well positioned because of our global network to continue to service and engage in those flows and assist our clients in realizing their business and operating objectives. From the business model standpoint, we are seeing these new companies who want to rapidly become global, achieve scale, such as Airbnb, for example, Uber, and we are engaged with them in providing financial capabilities, products, and infrastructure to assist them in achieving their global expansion ambitions. So if you look at from those two angles, the opportunity is quite sizable.
Mm-hmm. But it's also a very changing environment. Obviously, there's been an explosion of the FinTech companies or FinTech startups. What impact do you think FinTech is having on the global transaction banking?
I think the FinTech and other related startups are looking into different components of the value chain of the financial services. But we believe, generally speaking, it is more of an opportunity for established banks than it is a threat. In Citi, we have set up 3 innovation centers a number of years ago in Dublin, Singapore, and Tel Aviv. And we have implemented some of the leading tools and capabilities in those innovation centers to make sure we have new ideas and we have our own startups which are relevant to our business model as well as relevant to our clients. At the same time, the FinTech industry is going through a change, whereas the focus is shifting from disintermediating and disrupting the incumbent or established banks to more of a collaboration. Because there is a clear recognition that the banks have very sizable advantages in terms of client relationships, and therefore making their model successful for the startups, a better strategy is to collaborate and engage with the banks to service the end client as opposed to disruption or disintermediation.
Okay, and now let's get to the hot topics at Sibos this year. What do you think will be the main areas of discussion?
I think very aptly, the theme this year is going to be transforming the landscape. and is very appropriate considering the changes which we are all very familiar with. Underneath that, I think there's going to be 4 or 5 key areas of discussion or engagement. Naturally, banking, how it's evolving, the topic of compliance, regulation, culture, and security are going to be dominant themes in Sibos. Particularly, I think, more specifically, I think exploration of new technologies, their application in area of compliance and banking, such as blockchain, as well as cybersecurity, and what role a culture plays in making the industry more successful. So I look forward to the Sibos in Geneva.
And what would be your top tips for first-time attendees at Sibos this year?
I will simply say, network, speak to as many constituencies or participants as possible. You don't know where the wisdom or a new idea may come, which you find very valuable or relevant.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Naveed.
Thank you for having me.